Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. I got a few items I'd like to share with you. But before I start, I'd like to make this point. What is happening in Ukraine, the aggression by the Russians, is an affront to humanity. But not only is it an affront, it makes something obvious amongst the rest of the human race of how selfish we are. How we can allow babies and old people and women to be slaughtered just at a desire of an aggressor seeking power. When on the other hand, we raise holy heaven when it comes down to abortion. Life is so important. And when we have the opportunity, what we actually have is a family, in just a big family. And in one room, you got a bunch of relatives that lives in this room, and in another room, a bunch of relatives living in this room. And any room where the dissension gets so complicated, if one room wants to attack another room, it is the duty and responsibility of everybody else to stop it. So what I'm saying, it is the responsibility of the entire human race to stand up against the aggression that's causing all of this pain, all of this suffering to the Ukrainian people. How and why do I say this? Because any of us put in that same position would want that to be the response. So what I'm actually saying to all of us, it is our duty. And since we will not do it, it only identifies a reality that we choose to deny. And that is, we do not know God. And our belief in God, Jesus Christ, or the Buddha, or whomever, doesn't have any weight. We're just floating out here like straws or like leaves in the breeze, lost as can be. And anybody bold enough to challenge us, in any way that brings a threat to ourselves, only when it is ourselves. When it's another, it's okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, let me sum that up. It is the duty and responsibility of every human being on earth that knows about this to stand up and do whatever is necessary to protect the Ukrainian people from the aggression of a madman working for Satan. It is our duty. It is our responsibility. What's happening there will happen to the rest of us if we don't stop it. All right. Thank you. I want to talk also about this thing about how some people choose to be symbols of evil here on earth. How some people choose to be symbols of evil here on earth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I talk to you, I try to connect in such a way the events of the day with an understanding of how it is related to perhaps truth. If I can associate that truth with the Bible, for those of you who are into the Bible, I do it. If I need it, I'm definitely going to use it. If I don't need it, if it's evident amongst our day-to-day living, then I don't need it, because you understand that. So I want you to know why I come the way I do come. There are certain things that we call identifiable sins. Things that we do, we have been taught, and I guess we assume that it must be true, that if you're lying, that's a sin. If you're cheating, that's a sin. If you're stealing, that's a sin. If you're killing, that's a sin. If you're selfish, that's a sin. Pride, that's a sin. Lustful, laziness, that's a sin. Envy, and these are just to name a few. But now, why would anybody, I know you have to think about this sometime, especially after I just called it out, why would anyone want to commit these sins. Why would anyone want to lie, cheat, steal? Why would they want to do that? Well, probably, I'm sure most of us would agree, to get what they want. Whether it's an individual, whether it's a group, or whether it's a state. To get what they want. Apparently something is preventing them from getting what they want. And it seems that something evil that I just mentioned here would help them get what they want. So they do it. Now, that should bring up another question. And that is that since people want these certain things that require them to sin to get, this is a question, can a process be available that provides satisfaction to the individual, to the group, or to the state without them sinning? In other words, you don't want them to sin. Sin is evil, and they need these things. They can't get it apparently without sinning. So can it be arranged so these can be satisfied without them sinning? And the answer to that is yes. Now, you say, oh, yeah, it can. There's a solution. And yes, there's a solution. Now, if we're going to talk about the solution, let's think about, number one, what prevents the satisfaction? What prevents the satisfaction to those who feel they have to do these other things? What prevents it? Well, the number one answer is injustice. Injustice prevents the peaceful flow of life, sometimes expressed in the form of greed, sometimes expressed in the form of ambition, sometimes expressed in the form of seeking power. Now, you got that information, but I also said that there's a solution. I said yes, and you want to know what that solution is. Well, the solution is satisfaction. Satisfaction of basic human rights for all human beings. Did you hear what I said? Now, many of you probably thought I was going to say something else. But no, basic human rights for all individuals. This is something that is in every individual, just as real as your organs necessary for your survival. There's an innate requirement that would produce the satisfaction of life. Is in anyone. So you satisfy those things. That basically equals justice. You remove the injustice. And as long as you can keep it, it'll work. But now, you must resist greed on both sides. On both sides, you must resist greed. You must resist greed as a greeter, or you must resist greed as the greeded. You must resist ambition, and you must resist power. These things must be accomplished. Now, some might say that with all of the influences that we have in our society today, how is it that you can resist these types of sin? Well, to achieve this, one must be introduced to the truth. They gotta know the truth. To have any fight with sin, you gotta know the truth. And that basically means knowing the real power. The real power is accountable to every human being on earth. It's not just accountable to an individual or to a group. The real power is accountable to every individual on the face of the earth. They must know true justice. And what is true justice? True justice is simply reaping what you sow. That's true. True justice is reaping what you sow. It is the fruit of the seed. I mean, I could have said it other ways that kind of meant hard for you to understand. But I want you to understand exactly. What you plant is what you get. What you reap is that which you sow. You have sown. Sow. What you have sown. Now, what is the truth? Now, you got the truth. What is the truth supposed to do? Well, The truth, you've heard it 1,000 times, is to set you free. How does it set you free? To satisfy one's life's ambition. That's what truth does. Truth satisfies one's life greed. Truth satisfies one's hunger for power without lying, without cheating, without stealing, without killing. Truth does this. Now, how does truth introduce this accomplishment? Well, this accomplishment is revealed by exposing to each individual the unique value in every human being, in the process and the success of life, and their appreciation, the need that the rest of humanity have for one another, for their gifts, for their talents, that is gifted in the process of life, that every basic human right to each and every last one of us can be guaranteed, can be assured, can be protected. And how do you do this? By engaging, now listen to this, all of the wonderful things that I just got through explaining to you comes down to this. This is done by engaging the beneficiary. Now, who's the beneficiary? All of the things that I just got through mentioning. Peace, prosperity, freedom, joy of life. Never having to worry about anything that is required. Who's the beneficiary of that? It is you. It is the people. Now, what is unique about this? Because it is you, the people, that serve as the benefactors. You are the one that's giving all of this wonderful peace and prosperity and joy and the fulfillment of your dreams to one another. You're doing it to yourselves. And why and how is this so wonderful? Because you doing and engaging in the career of your own choosing gives you your greatest joy. And so it's just like you joying. You have found the secret of life. You are joying, enjoying, just being alive. And what you're doing, you're creating life. We didn't know that. No one ever told us that. Now, look around the globe. Who's doing the stealing? Through low wages, high taxes, fees, prices. Who's lying? Who's lying about stolen elections? Plan to steal an election? Who making voting hard, intimidating with violence of those who have different views on politics or religion, dictating to women issues of the female body? Who's the one taking violence and talking violence and buying weapons and threatening violence and attacking voters workers, and even started an insurrection on January 6th? Who's killing innocent individuals in Ukraine? Well, to answer that, I would say the human race. Everything that I just got through mentioning. Who's doing all of this? The human race is doing it. Now, I know many of you thought I was going to say the white people. You thought I was going to say the white people because the white people are the ones that seem to be in power everywhere. You thought I was going to say white people because white people throughout the history that have been given to us by white people. White people always come out on top, meaning they always fix the stuff up that makes them appear superior. And that basically means that they've gotten over on everybody else, which means that for them to be looking superior, everybody else got to be looking inferior. And so you're thinking that, how else can it be? All the colonization, white people. Russian, all the killing over there, white people. All the violence, all the getting the guns, white people. And so you were just assured that I was going to say white people. And the truth of the matter is, I was going to say white people. But as I was stating my case right there, it dawned on me, this is much bigger than white people. White people got a major role, everybody got a role. And that's it. Everybody got a role. This problem that exists is the problem of humanity. A problem of humanity. And it begins with one person standing up for what is right. It doesn't take a group. Oh, yes, it might take a group to take the spread and to go across the world as we would like for it to go. But it begins with one person. One person can't sit back calling themselves righteous while the rest of everything else is going to hell and you just go along with it because nobody else wakes up. That is an affront to what righteousness is all about. So I'm saying to anybody out there who think you're righteous, if you think you're righteous, you got to be just like that power that is responsible and is accountable to every human being on the face of the earth, not just to one person like Putin or Trump, not to just one race like the United States race or whites. No, my friends, it's got to be accountable to every individual on the face of the earth, as far as that the world's government, or should I say every government representing the same thing. Now I moved to, because when I speak about America, I am basically speaking about all governments everywhere. So let's see. Throughout the world, who's doing it? The killings in Africa, Europe. Yeah, well, I don't have to go there now. Again, evil persuades people to say different things. You know, like when we think about in America, when we think about Trump and his cronies say that the Democrats are going to steal the election, putting everybody's focus on believing Trump, not just watching the Democrats, watching every move the Democrats might make to see what they're going to do. And why are you so focusing on that one hand watching the Democrats, Trump and his cronies back there doing everything they possibly can to steal the election? And they tried everything they could to steal the election. And they got exposed for trying to steal the election. But like before, everything they've been doing up until this point, they still have gotten away with it. And they're still out there making preparations to steal the election. Ain't that something? Actually, they ain't gonna point the finger at Democrats. And the whole 70-something million people many of them bought into that lie and voted for the man again, believing in him. 74 million people, 70-something million people, millions of people, just as blind as a bat. Now we're talking about Democrats. Now what else did they turn around to? What they got you saying now? Now they want you to focus on Democrats being dictators. They're taking away what they want to tell you to do this, they want to tell you to do that, tell you to do this and tell you to do that. Dictators. While they are telling their people they better believe their dictator or they want to throw them out of the party. They want you to think that Democrats are dictators because they're trying to get information to the people about all of this crooked stuff these crooked people were doing. So they want you to think that they're dictators, while the true dictators are out here throwing people out in parties, trying to stack the system of government that they plan to use that would obey everything that they say do, while then government will be doing to you the same thing that Putin is doing over to those Ukrainian people, killing you, cutting your head off, cutting your hand off, doing anything they want to do to you. And everybody that's over there listening to this dictator will be allowing it to happen to their own children, to their own parents, because they have been bought and sold into evil. But The truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, that has nothing to do with righteousness. Righteousness just gets a chance to shine in the middle of all this slime. Righteousness gets a chance to shine in the middle of all this slime. Righteousness is not afraid to die. Righteousness knows the power of life did not come from somebody threatening life. The only thing they can do is put somebody in the ground. But you and I always know that however often they put people in the ground, people are still coming back through the womb. Put them in the ground, they're still coming back through the womb. So you don't have anything to worry about. You get rid of one problem, maybe find some freedom somewhere else. That's what life is. Freedom, peace, prosperity, joy. And you playing a major role in it. Did I say everything? Is there one of the things that I missed? One thing. Is there one thing? What is evil doesn't? Okay, is there anything else? Well, I guess I'll leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time. All the thing I want to share with you is the wisdom with my eldership. Until next time, Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.